Okay, from the top, I am Steven, and I love color and lighting. And um, as a concept artist, you would like to know a little bit fundamentals about like color and lighting, and to incorporate into your design work. I mean, that's what your employees want to see. Therefore, yeah, I'm teaching you my personal workflow on how to work with color and lighting. Yeah. So you will be needing the demo of today, which is this dog resting on a bed. It is posted on in the announcement tab. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can download it right now. Um, as you can see, this is like the finalized version I have made for a demo. But I wouldn't have that texture tool at all because I thought I would be streaming on the iPad. But no, I'm doing it on Photoshop. I would be having the exact same tool as everyone else. So we'll find out how we texture this. Um, I'm gonna. Does everyone have? Yes.
I just have a question. Did you make it on Photoshop, I'm guessing?
No, I did it on Procreate.
Oh.
Okay, so if everyone has the file, I'm gonna continue. So our lecture on color. This artist by Ari Plan. I just really love her. So first of all, I feel like everyone would know about the color combo, and anyone who has taken the design class. Elementary, analogous. I'm not gonna list it, but I feel like what's most important is the way you distribute them. As you can see, the art from the right by Victor Mori is like a concept artwork from Arcane. Gonna go to the next slide. You always go for not necessarily, but ratio wise, you would want to have a 60%, 30%, 10% to balance it out. If you look at her design, she has most of her outfit is like dull color, like a 10% and 30%, all of it being like the red and the golden hue, like kind of spread it onto her costume. And like once you're looking at her, you will be attracted to see her like top half of the body because the bottom of half body wouldn't have like any details. It works both in like hue, saturation, and value wise. And I'm gonna go to the next slide. Oh, also, um, staving off from the extreme when you are trying to design your character. Not necessarily that you can't really use like deep dark for your character, but you would like to save that color for shadow and for ambient occlusion. Be desaturated. I feel like I've seen a lot of people's design with um, very saturated color, and it will be very visually incoherent and be fighting over each other, like as to which one is like the dominant color. If you see the art by Nathan Phelps on the right, the focal point being the horse and Puss in Boots is the most saturated in the entire canvas, while the rest of the canvas will be like desaturated. Whether it be a different hue, like they will be desaturated nonetheless because gray communicate with each other. As you can see, I pull up this like wheel from Marco Bucci's like art tutorial. All of these colors, they are not like neighboring each other, but once you get closer to the center, to the gray color, it will be easier to incorporate them together. And also art by Johnson and Sargent. Um, you can see like the color is pretty desaturated, but you can see the splash of red on her ears, and that's what attract your eyes towards. Yeah, so put the focal point on the color that is saturated. Not necessarily, because unless like you want your entire canvas to be desaturated, then the desaturate sorry, entire canvas to be saturated, then your desaturated part will be like the focal point. It depends on like how the entire composition goes. Okay, sorry, go back. I'm gonna turn on my demo. Everyone, if you would open your demo, we're gonna how did get out of this escape. Well, for now, we'll just be filling in the colors. for this dog. While applying what I just mentioned just now, the 60-30-10 rule, not all right. So usually, when I go about filling in base color, I do lasso because lasso tool is very clean in its intent. You can be very rough with it at first, and you can go back and shave it like using erasers. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, like you should open a new layer and use a clipping mask onto the previous layer for base color. Also, I like to use soft brushes for the filling in because we'll cover it later. The edge is very important. Well, having lasso tool like creates sharp edges, while your brush itself creates soft edges. So it naturally creates like a blend of sharp and soft edges to create visual interest. I like to do a little bit of gradient when I'm in the base color mode, just a little bit, just to introduce some variation. You can for the gradient, you can't really like go too extreme with the value. You would like to stay within the general vicinity of your base color. Where's the color picker on Mac?
I.
Oh, I'm also working with very desaturated values because I know like later on I will be adding more saturated color to for the highlights for the focal point. So this is more for this is like a medium for your lighting for your a medium for the light, so to say. Yeah, I have a feeling that everyone's done except for me. Oh wait, I locked it. I'm gonna introduce some um gradients on this. Not gradient, but like a softer edges, because that's the material of its fur. Also, while I'm doing this, I'm not painting them all on one layer because it is easier to modify each of the base color when if you can see here that I'm having a different layer mode on layers for each part of the color. Yeah, I like to after I'm done with that, like just a general selection of the area, you can just alpha lock. If you don't know how to use alpha lock, it's slash on Photoshop, and I feel like you would know like and you can just paint in the color variation. You don't have to copy mine, by the way. You can just come up with your own color. Right. I'm generally done. If anyone needs more time, does anyone need more time? Okay, I'm just gonna wait for another like 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Is 3 minutes enough? Okay, I'm gonna go wait for 3 minutes. While you're still drawing, I can keep on yapping. All right. So let's see if I can impart some of my uh base color wisdom. I I don't. I think when I'm also like doing the base color, oh, it's mainly just the difference in saturation, like what I mentioned before. Using the color gray, I'm just gonna add some variation here. So this is a more of a saturated yellow. Gonna go towards like here and introduce more of a gray color. It's also very dependent on your environment. So we'll see. Yeah. Feel free to ask questions if you have any.
How do you decide what colors to start off with?
Okay, so if you can pick like an underpaint color. I mean, I didn't do that just now, but because I have done this demo before, I should have shown it. But if you don't know what color you want to pick, you might want to do like an underpaint layer. Let's just say if the underpaint layer is like red, and anything that you layer on top will have like these reddish hue like showing under it, and that kind of generally dictate what kind of color scheme you want to go for. I let me see if I can do like a short demo of this. Let's just say I have like red color. Gonna be a desaturated red color. Oh, it is red, and like the general color scheme is gonna be red. I'm just gonna we know that like the fur is like generally darker than the snow, so I'm gonna go on the red color cube, and go like slide left. It's a desaturated color. You can also like play around with like here some of the hue changes, but do not like deviate too much. Maybe the blanket can be like purple. Also, if you're on Photoshop, the gradient tool is very convenient to help you with laying down color very evenly and doing the color transition. Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing a great job swinging it low. It might take too long to show the thing, so I'm just going to move on. Usually, okay, also like for what color to pick, you would like to have references, right? Like what the Shiba Inu dog actually look like, and like what is within the area of belief. Like if the color is green, would that work? I mean, it technically can, but you have to match that green with some sort of color that's adjacent to that green to make sure that the general value structure is similar to that of a Shiba Inu dog. All right, I'm gonna move on now. Delete this later. Okay, back to lighting. So right, lighting. Yay. I would like you to throw on a multiply layer or slash color blend slash hard light slash soft light into your demo file. If you if you look at the layers system, there is a folder with all the environment. Pick one, and I think I'm locked in the full screen or something. How did I get out of here?
Up at the top, there is a green button by the 3 colored on top.
All right. I'm gonna choose a different one than the last time I chose. I'm gonna do the beach. All right. So now we have this, and we're gonna open a new layer and clip and mask it under it. So and set this new layer to multiply. So what is the color of this beach? What is the environment like? It would be like a bluish color because the sky is reflecting on like the sky is blue and therefore the environment is blue. If you see a shadow like on this picture, it is also blue. So we're essentially giving the dog like a shadow, but like general shadow color. I'm gonna go to blue. I'm gonna choose like a desaturated blue here, and then I'm gonna bucket fill it in. Yeah, and that is our environment light. I'm gonna give you like a 30 seconds to do it. All right, back to the slide. So let's do this. Now we go to direct lighting, which is like the bulk of what you have to do with like lighting anything. So one thing to take consideration into is your lighting dynamic, and a big component of that is having big, medium, small of shadow details. If you look at this drawing by Pascal Campion, there is the big shape of like this light here, and it gradually break down into smaller shapes, like here on the lawn, and here on the tree, and here on these two human. And that's what attract your eyeballs towards, because small details attract attentions, and bigger details like allow you to allows like breathing space into the painting. And I'm gonna do the demo. So on the demo, you open another layer, clipping mask onto it, and choose the light source. What's the color of your light in this environment? If it's a beach, then I would assume like the sun is like shining down on you, and it's gonna be like a generally yellowish light. Although this photo is more towards like noon, so therefore the light is very strong and it's gonna be appear more whitish. But I'm gonna stylize it a little bit, so it's gonna be this kind of color. For your drawing, if you are doing the one like that's during golden hour, or you're the one on like mountain, like the mountaintop, it will be more of taking in more of the color of the environment. For the golden hour, it's going to be very strong yellow, and for the mountain, it's going to have a little bit of like greenish hue to it. Now switch your layer mode to, well, you can pick. You can do color dodge or hard light or soft light. Really depends on the situation. I personally like to use hard light a lot because hard light allow me to go into allow me to go dark and go light at the same time. It's just very convenient. This is like when it goes dark and this is when it goes light. But you can also do color dodge too. But usually it's not what the color um, of the light that you would want to pick because it's very dependent on the layer mode. For hard light, you would want it to be around this range. Gonna design the shadow. Oh yeah, design your shadow. Use lasso tool to lasso them out. And once you do that, you can also go back with erasers and airbrushes or like blending tool to blend some of the edges because it's edges is what suggests the details, like the texture information of that object, which I will cover later. I'm adding like some soft transition on its chest because I'm looking at it as if it's like a round cylinder, and therefore it has a softer transition towards the shadow, as well as the shading on the on top of the head. If you have any question about this step, you can ask. I guess not. Unless they're in the chat. Never mind. I'm using a lot of soft edges here because the material of this object. But later on, I will be using more of a texture brush to go over it to create like the furry texture. My God. You can also alpha lock whatever you have selected and turn it into a locked layer, and then you can go in with the color variation.
We have a question in the voice chat.
Oh, yes.
Is there a good way of selecting the color you use in multiply layers or lighting layers without having to switch the setting of them?
Wait, what does that mean? Hold up.
Through the color picker. It's like,
Oh, okay. You usually want to just pick the color of the environment. Let's say I have this blue here. You can pick this blue. But generally, you want it to be desaturated. So once you pick the blue, you can go to go desaturate it and go darker. It depends on what kind of environment or what like subject you want to pick in the scene. Because if your character is not like the main subject, you can make it blend in with the environment. But if the character is the main subject, then you would want it to stand out. Therefore, it should be darker and like be more prominent. Does that answer your question?
I think what they're asking is how to select that color again, even though it's a multiply layer, without it being
right.
Without switching layer. I'll say for that, a good way to deal with that is paint in your shadows as just a normal layer, and then you can switch it to multiply afterwards and play with the color through with just like text settings.
Oh wait,
Actually, there is a way to
you can also do the masking layer thing.
You don't actually have to do any of that. In your eyedropper tool, there will be settings and you can do current layer or all layers. So it'll reference the actual sample color of the multiply layer and not the color that the multiplier layer makes underneath of it. So you can do that. You just need to play around in the settings of your Photoshop.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it's
Yeah.
Photoshop or Procreate.
It's Photoshop. I don't think Procreate does that, but I know it
Or,
is Photoshop.
or you can go to your like multiple layer and go and turn it back to normal, and then pick the color again. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can do that. You just have to play with your eyedropper.
Usually, you just get it like eyeball it, and if it's close enough, it doesn't really matter.
Even though you're just eyeballing, it's more color variation.
Yeah, it is. I'm just eyeballing right now, trying to fix that gap right. This color is not it, man. I don't like this color. Okay, but it's at its ugly stage right now. It will turn better. So is everyone done with the lighting? Do we need more time? I'm gonna give like another 3 minutes. I'm gonna open back up the slides. Oh yeah, so I already talked about edges, and edges is very important. And in depicting what kind of material it is, as well as trying to guide your viewer's eyes towards like things that are sharper, and for things that are like more obscure, it should be having softer edges. Exposing for highlight and exposing for shadow is this concept that when you're drawing, you would want to have like a 70 and 30% relationship with the shadow and the light, because when it is 50-50, it might not like look harmonious. And I can show you some examples, because currently my drawing is exposing for shadow. You can see, you will actually, hold up. It's kind of a mixture. Now I think about it, I can go back and erase some of the light. It doesn't matter that much, but you will want to have like a distribution of detail, either in light or in shadow. So for like this current face, all the head will be very overexposed, but anything that's under like in the shadow will have the majority of the details. So exposure for light is like the opposite. If you have seen like the old master painting like Rembrandt and like chiaroscuro, they have like very dark shadows and just like their local color. That's exposing for light, right? I'm teaching you this method of exposing for, oh my god, exposing for shadow. But you can always just reverse it. It really depends on like the situation. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk about the fade off ham sandwich. So I call it fade off ham sandwich because there's this lighting scenario where the light travels across and it will gradually fade off in intensity, and it will also fade off in like the color. Let's just say, look at this painting by Krantz. You can see that there are very okay. This part is very bright. While it travels across, it gradually becomes dimmer and dimmer and become more saturated. That's how that's just how like golden hour work, because if you see golden hour, like the light is very saturated, while during noon it's like very bright and desaturated. And we would like to apply that onto our drawing. The idea of hand sandwich is just that in the like in between light and shadow is like a termination line, and it's like where the fade off is the most apparent, because if you see on this drawing, it has like this very visible saturated like orange hue that like depicts the fade off of light. You don't have to do it, but it's more of a stylization thing, and I will do it on my drawing. But, so from how do I do it? You can do it in multiple ways, like just by alpha locking it and painting in the termination line and the fade off is pretty easy, but it's also kind of destructive. You can also select this layer and open a new layer and then clipping mask onto all of these groups. On top of that, like you can do your fade off, because it will have the same selection as the last as your light, and you don't have to be on. You can also be on normal layer to paint in the termination. Does anyone have any question about that? So the termination line, I would think for this lighting scenario would be kind of orange-ish. And on his arm, it will be darker because lighting is traveling across from the right, and it will gradually fade. Same thing on this pillow. To keep in mind though that the fade off shouldn't be as dark as the shadow because we have to maintain the value structure. Yeah, Photoshop is pissing me off. I don't want to use Photoshop. Just going in and bring some of the brightness back in.
I was gonna say kind of like my portfolio. It's in here.
I can always also do this like very visible termination line if you did if it's like stylized that way. Oop. Oh, mini erase. Actually, don't do that because that will be part of texture. All right. Okay, next. I'm not doing this. Okay. Value grouping. So now we have like the direct lighting and the base color. We would like to like check your value because value is, even though this is a lecture about color lighting, value is like the most important part of color lighting. So if you look at this drawing by Ding Cornwell, we can see that like it's very visible what he wants us to see. We can see like the woman's face like very clearly, even in the posterized version of Photoshop. Like when you like turn everything into like two colors. So we will want that for our drawing. For in this case, we would like to have a good focal point on the face and less so on the blankets. So maybe you can group some of the values here. You can start by doing a layer, flipping mask onto the previous one, and you can either choose darken or lighten. So darken is this blending mode allows you to paint anything that's darker than the layer displayed on screen. And lighten is like the opposite. And I'm going to show how that works. So let's say have this color here, and I want this this part to be blended in and show like the facial structure more. I will use the blending mode lighten to bring out the shadow. So it doesn't paint over like your color that is lighter than your current value, which is very convenient. Oh, that might be doing too much. All right. And I might want to darken some of the value here. I'm gonna open a darken layer. You see, like it might like cover up entire face, but you can always go back to opacity and tone it down a little bit. Wait, no, I'm on a different layer. Sorry. You know, you should always name your layer. Don't be like me. Actually, I was wrong. Sorry, not darken in this case. It's lighten because I would like to like leave the dark area for the face only. So it's still on the light layer, the lighten layer. I'm gonna bring out some of the areas here. Oh. Okay, so this is more of an adjustment step. Like you don't really have to do it right now. It's just that whenever you're rendering, you would like to check your value every now and then and go over it with like a adjustment. This is like a quick fix, but you can always just go back to your base color layer and change the value instead. All right, I'm gonna go to next. Downslight, skylight, which I kind of covered in my fixing value groupings thing because I'll kind of paint it in the downslide to kind of blend to show focus on the face more, but downslide and plus side and skylight is just a more technical term. So on your layer, you would like to open a new blending mode and call it soft light. I would recommend soft light because it is very gradual change and suited for this. So we have sky and we have the ground, which is the beach. And the beach will have like a yellowish glow and the sky will have a bluish glow. And each of them will be like projecting their light onto the dog. So I have soft light here. I'm going to blue. You can color pick this. And oh, that's too much. Always just adjust adjust your color and make sure that it doesn't deviate too much from the base value and hue. Also depends on your material because if it is reflective, then it's going to be like very extreme. Can be very subtle about it because we don't want to destroy the value structure. And any surface that's facing upwards will receive a skylight, and any surface that's like facing downwards is will take light from the bounce light. So for the bed, it's gonna having some bounce light reflecting on it. For Photoshop, you can use the gradient tool. And for Procreate, you can just use your soft airbrush. Always use lasso tool because lasso tool is very convenient. It allows you to be very precise with your brushstroke placement. Oh. I do feel like the top half of him is like too dark. I feel like it will be brighter. I'm gonna introduce some last minute adjustments. Just gonna do another layer and use a soft light. And then just gonna do an overall lighting pass.
At first, it like almost looks like, you know, when like there's a little bit of static in the air, and so like you're reacting to it. That's kind of what the first one was giving, but that one looks good. That's
Okay.
a good comparison. Like, it was very vivid in my head.
Got it. I think I made the bounce light way too bright, so I'm gonna darken it by alpha locking this entire layer and darken the bounce light. Does anyone have any question, by the way?
When researching for
Mhm.
what do you suggest you like look into like words or like certain sites where then it's easier to find what you're specifically looking for?
Like the lighting scenario?
Yeah.
I think you can do practice like by doing the sphere practice by placing that sphere in different environment and light it accordingly and see if it fit into the environment. And just use like using the same method that I've taught you just now, but like it's simple because it's just a sphere. So really, you just have to have like everything masked out on different layer, and just switch around in colors and see which one fits the most into the lighting scenario. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you get what I'm talking about?
Like this whole sphere.
No, like you're just painting a sphere because
Oh,
a sphere is
yeah.
like easier to paint. Yeah, it's like a lighting practice. So just for like accuracy, just observe and see like how light affects like the surface because what can I say? Do more photo study. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the last part. Oh my god, it's almost 7. Okay, the juiciest part, the texturing, because I feel like that's where everyone like shows their like signature style, you know. Like what kind of texture you want to do. It depends on how to edge. Okay. So like pre-mentioned, edges is very important. and like different edges portray a different like kind of scenario on how the light projects onto the object. If you look at the Lane Decker drawing here, he has very smooth and non-jagged transition line, but he has like these hatching on the light part, which suggests like information on the close. And if you look at this drawing by Yuming, he does edges not just by the harshness of the edge, but also by like colors, like the value. The jacket is very harsh. It's like very dark against the white shirt, but he's the fur of the cat. It blends into the shirt, so that's like a lost edge, and this is a hard edge. He also uses edges like here. Oh my god, I can't zoom in. Okay, you can see these edge, like these streaks, that suggest the volume of the hair, but also a different color that suggests like there is a difference in information in there. We have this purple color, and there's this like saturated orange color that separates between the light and shadow. So what I'm trying to say is there are different ways that you can do edges. You can do it either by value, hue, or saturation, and the general brush shapes. When you're doing edge, you can introduce edge by doing hatching if there's like a textural information in there. You can also blend to loosen edge, which will loosen which you want to do for the non-focal point area. And generally texture brush strokes, because texture brush stroke is very convenient for mass texturing. You don't want to do every like single tiny texture on the drawing. You want to use your texture brush. So I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna apply the texture onto my drawing right now with a normal layer. Good. So right now it's like very bare. It's very smooth. So I want to introduce more contrast into the face. Okay, I would pick. I have no brushes here, man. All right. Cow drawing blocks. This is good. Actually, no. Sure. All right. I can use a tool between the termination line and just generally brush in the texture. Also, don't forget, like there's like light fade off on the termination line, so I'm using a more saturated color here. This is just a normal layer. Yeah. Actually, you can use whatever layer. It can be a layer that like relies on the previous layer's information, but normal layer is just like very easier to read when you're doing it. Oh my god. Oh, this is good. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna do some hatching here. Oh my god.
should be over by 8. Yeah, sounds good.
While you're on this normal layer, you might as well go fix like any details, because I like to like do all that and just to combine every single thing and just like paint on top. I'm fixing some values here, adding some details, more visual interest into the face.
I actually feel like I'm more productive than I thought I would be.
That's good.
When they sent me this unit, it was like, no. When they sent me this, I was having a mini like breakdown. I was like, okay, new textures and a new rig and a new animation and trying to like every single time I've had to change like animation to rigs, there's like something slightly off, like new controls, so it doesn't know how to translate it. And I'm like, so then I have to like tweak it, which I did, but I thought I could do that to like now, and I'm playing box again. I'm just stuff. So hopefully I'll get another revision by the end of the night.
You feel like you're getting quicker?
What?
Do you feel like you're getting quicker?
An animating?
Yeah, like him. Or like, yeah, just in
I
general.
like now know what he's like. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's not a me face. Like his eyes are too close. Like there's too much thought behind those eyes. It's usually the eyes that are called out. Or his mouth shape. That's a big one. He's got a bead mouth shape. So if it's ever like sharp corners, it's like.
But actually, you don't have to follow what I'm doing. It's just that you have to introduce some sort of textural information in between the edges, as well as the shadow area, because we are exposing for shadow. Therefore, we are gonna add some more details into a shadow. Well, what something you can do is, well, if you know like lighting scenario information of this object, you can always go in with more of a detailed shadow. But more than often, like I would just go over it with like a bigger texture brush and just fake the details. Oh. Here I am adding ambient occlusion because it's an area that no matter what, the light doesn't shine through, like the crack under his arm contacting the blanket. We would like to use like a darker shadow to show that it creates contrast and visual interest. Also, feel free to change up the line art layer because I feel like hard light doesn't apply to this scenario anymore.
This, I want to say it's the
It's gonna
28th.
be. It's gonna be.
I usually just like look to make sure it's not within it.
It can be hard light, but I'm gonna darken the line art. Show you.
No?
I mean, it sounds like I was my friend's birthday, and then I remembered I was gonna do something for her before her birthday, and I don't know how to do that. So it's next week.
Delve into a bit more of the structure because developing some of the 3D shapes of the nose and under the ear. Oh, another thing you can do is using a color variation brush. I don't have one right now, but on Photoshop you can go to brush setting. What's the brush setting?
6. Okay.
No,
Yeah, the top right.
top right.
By your color picker. There should be a couple of options, and one is a folder with brush on it. So go to window brush settings. Oh, you've moved things. Okay, window.
All
right. Brush settings.
Right.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you. Go to color dynamic, turn it on, and then you can turn on some of the hue jitter and saturation jitter. And now I can paint in some more details using the same color, but it will appear a bit jaggy, which suggests like the texture of the fur waves, stroke per stroke. Apply per tip. I'm going to turn on per tip. I think it works that way. Ooh. There's always an opportunity to play with texture when there's a transition in light and shadow. Let's just say there's like a bounce light. You can suggest like the textural information here with some texture. Photoshop. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Ceremonious.
Wait, can we go back to look at my my Procreate rendering? Let's like do a comparison. Oh well. Oh well, you just have to see it from here.
Copy pasted.
Oh yeah, you're right. See if it works.
Are you on the clipping mouse player?
Okay, it's fine. You just have to see from afar. All right. I don't know. I just feel like I have more, definitely way more textual information on Procreate. It's just because I have all the texture brush like specialized for each of the specific scenario.
Inside the mesh, not part of a thing.
Like you can always build your texture brush like on Photoshop by just defining brush preset. Like if you want to have a texture brush, you can just open a new layer and make a random scribble, and go up there and go to define brush preset. and it would just become, oh my god, it's taking the entire thing. Okay, select this and then edit, define brush presets, and just voila, you have a brush, like random brush. There's texture. So yeah, that's wait. Let me go back to the slide. Oh, there's another slide. Oh my god. Okay, focal point. It's really just like a last adjustment thing. It's because the same thing with value grouping. Focal point is important, and you will like to have focal point to be the like most prominent thing in your drawing. Like after you're done with every rendering, and you can look at it, and you can go back with any sort of adjustment using like values and blend mode, soft light, hard light, overlay. Overlay is very powerful. And yeah. Thank you.
We did it.
Yeah.
Meeting's over.
It's like 15 minutes late.
You're good. You did it. Good job, Stephen.
Yeah.
Everyone say good job, Stephen.
Good job, Steven.